First contact. The Nexus space station hung in the inky void like a glittering jewel, its spinning rings reflecting the light of nearby stars. It was a testament to interstellar cooperation, a neutral ground where species from across the galaxy could meet, trade, and forge alliances. For Jack Harper, it was just another stop on his grand tour of the cosmos. Jack adjusted his worn leather jacket as he stepped off the shuttle, his duffel bag slung over one shoulder. The station's artificial gravity took hold, and he felt his feet settle firmly on the deck. All around him, beings of every imaginable shape and size bustled about their business. Some were vaguely humanoid, while others defied easy description. Jack grinned, drinking in the sights and sounds of this interstellar melting pot. "Watch where you're going, Earthling," a gruff voice bellowed as Jack accidentally bumped into a towering, four-armed creature with iridescent scales. "Sorry, big guy," Jack said, raising his hands in apology. "Still getting my space legs." The alien huffed and moved on, leaving Jack to marvel at the diversity around him. He'd saved for years to afford this trip, determined to see the wonders of the galaxy firsthand. Growing up on a small farm in Iowa, he'd always dreamed of the stars. Now, at 28, he was finally living that dream. As Jack made his way through the crowded concourse, his eyes were drawn to a figure standing apart from the crowd. She was tall and slender, with skin that shimmered like polished opal. Her eyes, large and luminous, seemed to change color as she moved. But it wasn't just her alien beauty that caught Jack's attention. It was the look of utter confusion on her face as she stared at a holomap of the station. Before he could think better of it, Jack found himself approaching her. "Excuse me," he said, putting on his friendliest smile. "You look a little lost. Can I help?" The alien woman turned to him, her eyes widening slightly. When she spoke, her voice had a musical quality, like chimes in a breeze. "Your assistance would be appreciated, human. I am unfamiliar with this station's layout." "Well, you're in luck," Jack said. "I just got here myself, but I'm pretty good with maps. Where are you trying to go?" The alien hesitated for a moment before responding. "I seek the diplomatic quarter. I have an important meeting, but the directions I received were imprecise." Jack studied the holomap for a moment, then pointed to a section near the station's core. "Looks like it's this way. I can walk you there if you'd like. I'm Jack, by the way. Jack Harper." The alien tilted her head, as if considering his offer. Finally, she nodded. "Very well, Jack Harper. I am Zara Lean, third emissary of the Luminarian Conclave. You may call me Zara." As they began walking, Jack couldn't help but ask, "So, what brings a third emissary to Nexus Station? If you don't mind me asking, that is." Zara's eyes flickered, a swirl of blue and green. "I am here to participate in trade negotiations with several species, including yours. The Conclave believes increased commerce will foster better understanding between our peoples." Jack nodded, impressed. "That's pretty important work. Me, I'm just a tourist, seeing the sights and trying not to cause any interplanetary incidents." This elicited a sound from Zara that might have been a laugh. "A noble goal, Jack Harper. Many conflicts have begun from simple misunderstandings between cultures." As they walked, Jack found himself fascinated by Zara. She moved with a fluid grace that seemed almost unreal, and her eyes constantly shifted colors, reflecting her emotions in ways Jack could only guess at. For her part, Zara seemed equally curious about him, asking questions about Earth and human culture. "So, you willingly left your home to travel alone among the stars?" Zara asked, her tone a mixture of confusion and admiration. "Is this common among humans?" Jack chuckled. "Not as common as I'd like, but yeah, we tend to be a curious bunch. Always wanting to see what's over the next hill, or in this case, the next solar system. Don't the Luminarian ever just travel for fun?" Zara's skin shimmered, taking on a slightly darker hue. "Our society values order and purpose. Leisure travel is uncommon. We seek knowledge, but always in service to the greater good of the Conclave." Ha, Jack mused. Sounds a little restrictive to me, but I guess every culture's got its own way of doing things. As they neared the diplomatic quarter, the corridors became wider and more ornate. Beings in elaborate costumes and uniforms hurried past, engaged in serious conversations. Jack suddenly felt very out of place in his casual tourist attire. "This is where I must leave you, Jack Harper," Zara said, coming to a stop before a set of imposing doors. "I appreciate your assistance." Jack smiled, feeling a twinge of disappointment that their encounter was ending. "Happy to help, Zara. Good luck with your negotiations. Maybe I'll see you around the station sometime." Zara's eyes swirled with a mix of purple and gold. "Perhaps. Your company has been unexpectedly enlightening." She paused, then added, "If you truly wish to understand other cultures, Jack Harper, you might consider attending one of the public forums held in the Grand Atrium. They can be quite informative." With that, Zara turned and glided through the doors, leaving Jack standing in the corridor, a grin spreading across his face. He hadn't expected to make an alien friend on his first day at Nexus Station, let alone one who was a diplomat. As he turned to head back to the tourist sector, Jack's mind was already racing with possibilities. A public forum on alien cultures. That sounded right up his alley. Little did Jack know that his chance encounter with Zara Lean would set in motion a series of events that would not only change his life, but potentially alter the course of interstellar relations forever. As he made his way back through the bustling corridors of Nexus Station, the seeds of an unprecedented adventure were already beginning to sprout. The next day found Jack in the Grand Atrium, a vast circular chamber at the heart of Nexus Station. The space was a marvel of engineering and artistry, with a transparent dome that offered a breathtaking view of the surrounding starfield. Beings from dozens of species milled about, their voices creating a cacophony of languages and sounds. Jack found a seat near the back of the audience area, his eyes wide as he took in the spectacle before him. A holographic display flickered to life in the center of the atrium, showing the agenda for today's forum, Understanding Galactic Cultures, Bridging the Gap. As the forum began, representatives from various species took turns presenting aspects of their cultures. Jack listened, fascinated, as a gelatinous being explained the intricacies of communicating through color changes, and a six-limbed creature demonstrated the importance of scent in their social hierarchy. When it was humanity's turn, Jack felt a swell of pride as the human representative, a woman named Dr. Elena Rodriguez, stepped up to the podium. She spoke eloquently about Earth's diversity, its art, music, and the human drive for exploration. "We may be newcomers to the galactic stage," Dr. Rodriguez said, her voice filled with passion, "but humanity brings with it a unique perspective. Our adaptability, our creativity, and our unwavering spirit of discovery are the gifts we offer to this grand tapestry of interstellar civilization." As the forum continued, Jack found his mind racing with new ideas and perspectives. He had always considered himself open-minded, but the sheer diversity of thought and experience represented here was staggering. It made him realize just how much he still had to learn about the universe and its inhabitants. After the presentations, the floor opened for questions and discussion. Jack listened intently as beings from across the galaxy engaged in spirited debate about cultural differences and similarities. It was during one such exchange that he noticed a familiar opalescent figure near the front of the crowd, Zara Lean. Gathering his courage, Jack raised his hand to ask a question. When he was acknowledged, he stood, feeling suddenly self-conscious as all eyes and other sensory organs turned to him. "Hi," he began, his voice cracking slightly. He cleared his throat and continued, "I'm Jack Harper, from Earth. I was wondering, with all these different species and cultures, how do we avoid misunderstandings that could lead to conflict? It seems like there's so much potential for things to go wrong." A murmur rippled through the crowd, and Jack saw Zara turn to look at him, her eyes swirling with a mix of blue and gold. Dr. Rodriguez nodded thoughtfully before responding. "An excellent question, Mr. Harper," she said. It's precisely why forums like this are so important. Open dialogue, cultural exchange programs, and a willingness to learn from one another are our best defenses against misunderstandings. It's not always easy, but the rewards of mutual understanding far outweigh the challenges. As the discussion continued, Jack found himself drawn into the conversation, offering his perspective as a human tourist experiencing the wider galaxy for the first time. His natural curiosity and openness seemed to resonate with many of the aliens present, and soon he was engaged in animated conversations with beings he never could have imagined meeting. As the forum wound down, Jack felt a tap on his shoulder. He turned to find Zara standing behind him, her opalescent skin shimmering in the starlight from the dome above. "Jack Harper," she said, her musical voice tinged with what might have been amusement. "I see you took my suggestion to heart." Jack grinned. "I did, and I'm glad I came. This was incredible, Zara. I've learned so much, but I feel like I've only scratched the surface." Zara's eyes swirled with a mix of green and purple. "Your question was insightful. It is a concern shared by many in the diplomatic community." "Really?" Jack said, surprised. "I was worried it might have been a bit naive." "On the contrary," Zara replied, "your fresh perspective is valuable. In fact," she paused, seeming to consider something, "there is to be a diplomatic reception this evening. As third emissary, I am permitted to bring a guest. Would you be interested in attending?" Jack's eyes widened. "Me? At a diplomatic reception? Are you sure that's allowed? I mean, I'm just a tourist." Zara's skin shimmered, taking on a slightly amused hue. "Sometimes, Jack Harper, the best insights come from unexpected sources. Your unique perspective as a human traveler could prove enlightening for some of my colleagues." Jack hesitated for only a moment before breaking into a wide grin. "Well, when you put it like that, how can I refuse? Count me in." As they left the grand atrium together, Jack couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and trepidation. He had come to Nexus Station looking for adventure, but he never expected to find himself rubbing elbows with alien diplomats. Little did he know that this reception would be the catalyst for an adventure beyond his wildest dreams, one that would test his courage, challenge his beliefs, and ultimately show the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of. The story continues to unfold, with Jack and Zara's unlikely friendship serving as a bridge between their two cultures. As tensions rise and misunderstandings threaten to spiral into conflict, it will be up to this unlikely pair to find a way to bring their peoples together and avert a looming crisis. Their journey will take them from the gleaming corridors of Nexus Station to the far reaches of the galaxy, proving that sometimes the most powerful force in the universe is the simple act of reaching out to understand one another. The Cosmic Gala. As the artificial day cycle of Nexus Station faded into a simulated twilight, Jack found himself standing before a mirror in his modest quarters, fumbling with the unfamiliar fastenings of a borrowed formal suit. The garment, a shimmering fabric that seemed to change color with his movements, had been delivered to his room shortly after his conversation with Zara. A note attached explained that it was appropriate attire for interstellar diplomatic functions. "Well, Harper," Jack muttered to his reflection, "you wanted an adventure. Looks like you've got one." The diplomatic reception was being held in the Celestial Ballroom, a grand chamber situated at the very top of Nexus Station. As Jack made his way there, he couldn't help but feel like an imposter. He was a farm boy from Iowa, for crying out loud. What business did he have mingling with the galaxy's elite? But as the doors to the ballroom slid open, revealing a scene of otherworldly splendor, Jack's anxiety gave way to awe. The chamber was a marvel of alien architecture, with sweeping arches that seemed to defy gravity and walls that shimmered with bioluminescent patterns. Through the transparent dome overhead, the stars glittered like scattered diamonds on black velvet. Beings from across the galaxy filled the room, their diverse forms and colors creating a living kaleidoscope. Some floated gracefully through the air, while others slithered or rolled across the floor. The cacophony of languages and scents was dizzying. "Jack Harper," A familiar musical voice called out, "You clean up rather well for a human tourist." Jack turned to see Zara gliding towards him. Her opalescent skin seemed to glow from within, and she wore an elaborate headdress that caught the light in mesmerizing ways. "Thanks, Zara," Jack grinned, tugging at his collar. "I feel a bit like a fish out of water, to be honest." Zara's eyes swirled with amusement, an apt metaphor given the diversity of aquatic species present. "Come, let me introduce you to some of my colleagues." As Zara led him through the crowd, Jack found himself engaged in conversations that would have seemed impossible just days ago. He discussed the finer points of zero-gravity agriculture, with it being composed entirely of sentient gas, and debated the merits of various faster-than-light propulsion systems with a silicon-based life form that communicated through crystalline resonances. To his surprise, Jack found that his human perspective was in high demand. Many of the diplomats were curious about Earth and its cultures, and Jack's straightforward, friendly manner seemed to put them at ease. "You know," a tentacled diplomat from the Cephalon Concordat gurgled happily, "I have always thought humans were a rather primitive species, but your insights on adaptive problem-solving are quite fascinating." Jack laughed, taking the backhanded compliment in stride. "Well, we may be new to the galactic scene, but we've got a few tricks up our sleeves." As the evening wore on, Jack noticed a growing tension in the room. Hushed conversations and worried glances were being exchanged, particularly among the group of reptilian beings with iridescent scales. "Zara," Jack whispered, pulling his alien friend aside, "is it just me, or is something going on?" Zara's eyes darkened, swirling with deep blues and purples. "Your instincts are sharp, Jack Harper. There are concerns about a developing situation in the Orion Arm. The Draconis Imperium is making aggressive moves towards several newly spacefaring species, including a human colony world." Jack felt his stomach drop. "Wait, what? Why hasn't this been on the news feeds?" "Diplomatic channels are trying to resolve the situation quietly," Zara explained. "A public panic could escalate tensions further." Before Jack could respond, a commotion erupted near the center of the ballroom. A holographic display flickered to life, showing a star map of the disputed region. A reptilian diplomat, his scales flashing angry reds and oranges, was gesticulating wildly. "The Imperium has every right to expand its sphere of influence," he hissed. "These upstart species must learn their place in the galactic order." Jack felt a surge of anger. Without thinking, he stepped forward, his voice cutting through the growing chaos. "Now hold on just a minute." The room fell silent, all eyes turning to the unexpected human interloper. Jack swallowed hard, but pressed on. "Look, I may be new to all this, but from where I'm standing, the galaxy's big enough for all of us. Instead of fighting over territory, why not work together? Humans have a saying, 'A rising tide lifts all boats.' Couldn't the same principle apply to galactic civilization?" The reptilian diplomat's eyes narrowed. "And who are you to lecture us on galactic affairs, human?" "Jack Harper," he replied, squaring his shoulders, "tourist, farm boy, and apparently the voice of common sense in this room." A ripple of surprised murmurs and appreciative chuckles spread through the crowd. Jack caught Zora's eye. Her expression was a mix of concern and, was that pride? The tension in the room seemed to deflate slightly, replaced by thoughtful silence. Then, a tall, ethereal being stepped forward. Its body was composed of swirling mists, and when it spoke, its voice resonated directly in Jack's mind. "The human speaks wisdom," it intoned. "Perhaps it is time we reassessed our approach to galactic expansion. A conference to establish new guidelines for interstellar colonization and resource sharing could benefit all species." The suggestion was met with a chorus of agreement from many of the assembled diplomats. Even the reptilian representative, though still visibly agitated, seemed to be considering the idea. As the crowd broke into excited discussions, Zara approached Jack, her eyes swirling with a kaleidoscope of colors. "Jack Harper," she said, her voice filled with wonder, Do you realize what you've just done? Jack ran a hand through his hair, looking sheepish. Stuck my foot in my mouth on a galactic scale. Zara made a sound that might have been laughter. On the contrary, you may have just prevented a war and ushered in a new era of cooperation. Your unique human perspective has proven more valuable than I could have imagined. As the implications of what had just happened began to sink in, Jack felt a mixture of exhilaration and terror. He had come to Nexus Station looking for adventure, but he never expected to find himself at the center of galactic politics. So, he said, a lopsided grin spreading across his face, what happens next? Zora's eyes gleamed with an almost mischievous light. That, Jack Harper, is what we must figure out. The real work begins now. As the diplomatic reception buzzed with renewed energy and purpose, Jack realized that his grand tour of the cosmos had taken an unexpected turn. He was no longer just a tourist, he had become an accidental diplomat, a bridge between humanity and the wider galactic community. The stars overhead seemed to shine brighter, as if approving of this new path. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Jack knew that he was exactly where he needed to be, ready to show the universe what humanity had to offer. Little did he know that his impromptu speech was just the beginning. The events set in motion that night would lead Jack and Zara on a whirlwind journey across the stars, facing dangers and wonders beyond imagination, all while working to forge a lasting peace between the diverse species of the galaxy. The farm boy from Iowa was about to become a legend in his own right, proving that sometimes the most extraordinary heroes come from the most ordinary beginnings. The Starbound Odyssey. The days following the diplomatic reception were a whirlwind of activity on Nexus Station. Jack found himself thrust into the center of galactic politics, his unique human perspective suddenly in high demand. The station buzzed with news of the upcoming Interstellar Peace Conference, hastily organized in response to the crisis Jack had inadvertently helped diffuse. As Jack hurried through the crowded corridors, he marveled at how quickly his life had changed. Just a week ago, he'd been a wide-eyed tourist. Now, he was part of a diplomatic task force, working alongside beings from across the cosmos to prevent an interstellar war. Jack Harper. A familiar voice chimed. Zara glided up beside him, her opalescent skin shimmering with excitement. The Luminarian Conclave has officially requested your presence at the conference. It seems your reputation as a, what do they call you? The Cosmic Peacemaker. It's spreading rapidly. Jack chuckled, shaking his head. Cosmic Peacemaker. Sounds like something out of a cheesy sci-fi holo novel. I'm just a guy who spoke up at the right time. Zora's eyes swirled with amusement. Sometimes, Jack, that's all it takes to change the course of history. Now come, we have a shuttle to catch. As they boarded the sleek diplomatic vessel, Jack felt a thrill of anticipation. They were bound for Harmonium, a neutral planet on the fringes of disputed space, where representatives from all involved parties would gather to negotiate. The journey through hyperspace was a marvel in itself. Streaks of light rushed past the viewport, and Jack found himself mesmerized by the ethereal beauty of faster-than-light travel. Zara spent the time briefing him on the intricacies of galactic politics, her patience seemingly endless as she explained the centuries-old conflicts and alliances that shaped the cosmic landscape. As they approached Harmonium, Jack gasped at the sight. The planet was a swirling orb of blues and greens, wreathed in luminous rings that pulsed with energy. It's beautiful, Jack breathed. Harmonium is more than just beautiful, Zara explained. It's unique in the galaxy. The entire planet acts as a massive psychic amplifier, enhancing empathy and understanding between species. It's why it was chosen as the site for the conference. Their shuttle descended through the planet's atmosphere, landing in a sprawling city of crystal spires and floating gardens. As Jack stepped onto the surface, he felt a subtle shift in his perception. Colors seemed more vivid, sounds more melodious, and he was acutely aware of the emotions of those around him. Whoa, he murmured, steadying himself. That's intense. Zara nodded, her own emotions radiating a calm reassurance. You'll adjust quickly. The effect tends to be strongest on telepathically receptive species like humans. The conference center was a marvel of alien architecture, a structure that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Delegates from hundreds of worlds filled its halls, their diverse forms and colors creating a living tapestry of galactic life. As Jack and Zara made their way to the main chamber, they were stopped by a towering figure with crystalline skin that refracted light in dazzling patterns. Ah, the famous Jack Harper, the being chimed, its voice like tinkling glass. I am Prism Shatterer of Illusions, representative of the Silicon Collective. Your words at the Nexus reception have caused quite a stir. Jack smiled, extending his hand in greeting. It's an honor to meet you, Prism Shatterer. I just hope I can live up to all this hype. The crystalline being's facets shifted in what might have been a smile, honesty and humility. Rare qualities in galactic politics. Perhaps there is hope for these negotiations after all. As they entered the main chamber, Jack felt a wave of anticipation wash over him. The room was arranged in concentric circles, with each delegation seated according to their gravitational and atmospheric needs. At the center stood a holographic projection of the disputed territories, slowly rotating in 3 dimensions. The session began with formal introductions, each species presenting their grievances and demands. Jack listened intently, trying to absorb the complex web of alliances and rivalries that had brought them to this point. When it was Earth's turn to speak, Jack found himself nudged to the podium. Taking a deep breath, he stepped forward, feeling the weight of not just humanity, but all the newly spacefaring races resting on his shoulders. Friends, neighbors, fellow citizens of the cosmos, he began, his voice steady despite his nerves. I stand before you not just as a representative of Earth, but as a voice for all those who are new to this vast galactic community. We come seeking not conquest or domination, but partnership and mutual understanding. As Jack spoke, he could feel the unique properties of harmonium amplifying his words, infusing them with the genuine emotion behind them. The chamber fell silent, all eyes, and other sensory organs, fixed upon him. The universe is vast beyond imagining, Jack continued, warming to his theme. There are wonders out there that none of us have yet dreamed of. Instead of fighting over scraps of territory, why not join forces to explore the unknown together? Imagine what we could accomplish if we combine the wisdom of ancient spacefaring races with the fresh perspective and adaptability of newcomers like humanity. A murmur of agreement rippled through the chamber. Jack could sense a shift in the emotional atmosphere, a growing openness to new possibilities. But just as it seemed progress was being made, alarms blared throughout the conference center. The holographic display at the center of the room flickered, showing a massive fleet of warships dropping out of hyperspace near Harmonium. It's the Draconis Imperium, someone shouted. They've launched a preemptive strike. Chaos erupted in the chamber as delegates scrambled to contact their homeworlds. Jack felt a surge of panic threatening to overwhelm him, amplified by the psychic field of Harmonium. Zara appeared at his side, her eyes swirling with determination. Jack, we need to do something. If those ships reach Harmonium, all hope for peace is lost. Jack nodded, his mind racing. Then an idea struck him. Crazy, potentially suicidal, but just maybe crazy enough to work. Zara, he said, a gleam in his eye, how good are you at hacking alien computer systems? Zara's skin shimmered with surprise. I have some experience. Why? Jack grinned, the adrenaline pushing back his fear. Because we're about to attempt the greatest prank call in galactic history. As the Draconis fleet drew closer, Jack and Zara raced against time, working with a hastily assembled team of tech experts from various species. Their plan was audacious, to hack into the Imperium's communication systems and broadcast a message that would give them pause. Ready? Jack asked, his hand hovering over the transmit button. Zara nodded, her eyes swirling with a mix of excitement and apprehension. Jack took a deep breath and pressed the button. Across the Draconis fleet, view screens flickered to life, showing a composite image created from the combined psychic projections of all the delegates on Harmonium. It was a vision of a possible future, a galaxy united in peace and prosperity, with the Draconis Imperium playing a crucial role as protectors and mentors to younger races. The image was infused with all the hope, determination, and goodwill of the assembled delegates, amplified by the unique properties of Harmonium. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, impossibly, the Draconis fleet began to halt its advance. A communication channel opened, and a reptilian face appeared on the main screen in the conference chamber. It was the Draconis Emperor himself, his scales shifting in complex patterns of emotion. Who are you?" the Emperor demanded, his voice a mix of anger and awe. "How dare you invade our minds with these visions?" Jack stepped forward, his heart pounding but his voice steady. "I'm Jack Harper, Your Majesty. Just a human who believes that we're all capable of being better than we are. That future you saw, it's real, it's possible, but only if we choose to make it happen." The Emperor's eyes narrowed, studying Jack intently. "A human. You orchestrated this psychic assault." "Not an assault, Your Majesty," Jack replied. "An invitation to be part of something greater than conquest, to help build a future where all species can thrive." For a long moment, silence reigned. Then, slowly, the Emperor's expression shifted. Perhaps we have been too hasty in our judgments. This vision you've shown us, it is compelling." A cheer erupted in the conference chamber as the Draconis fleet began to withdraw. Jack felt a wave of relief wash over him, followed by a surge of hope. They had done it. They had averted war and opened the door to a new era of galactic cooperation. As delegates from all species swarmed around him, offering congratulations and thanks, Jack caught Zora's eye. Her skin was glowing with pride and something else, a warmth that made Jack's heart skip a beat. "Well, Cosmic Peacemaker," she said, her voice filled with affection, "it seems you've lived up to your title after all." Jack laughed, the tension of the past hours finally releasing. "I guess sometimes all it takes to change the universe is a farm boy from Iowa and a little cosmic mischief." As the conference resumed, now with the Draconis Imperium participating as equals rather than adversaries, Jack knew that his adventure was far from over. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders and dangers yet to be discovered. But with friends like Zora at his side and the spirit of cooperation kindled here on Harmonium, he was ready to face whatever the cosmos had in store. The farm boy from Iowa had become a galactic legend, proving that humanity's greatest strength wasn't technology or military might, but the simple power of empathy, creativity, and the audacity to believe in a better future for all. The quantum conundrum. The successful peace negotiations on Harmonium catapulted Jack Harper from accidental diplomat to galactic celebrity. As news of the human who outwitted the Draconis fleet spread across the cosmos, Jack found himself at the center of a whirlwind of attention. But fame, he quickly learned, came with its own set of challenges. "I still can't believe they made action figures of us," Jack chuckled, examining a tiny plastic version of himself, complete with a miniature peace ray accessory. Zora, her opalescent skin shimmering with amusement, held up her own figurine. "At least yours doesn't have color-changing mood skin that's wildly inaccurate." They were aboard the Stellar Envoy, a cutting-edge diplomatic vessel assigned to them by the newly formed Galactic Concord. Their mission, to explore the far reaches of known space, make contact with isolated species, and spread the message of unity that had been born on Harmonium. As Jack gazed out at the streaking stars of hyperspace, he couldn't help but marvel at how far he'd come. "You know, Zora, sometimes I wonder if this is all just some crazy dream." A farm boy from Iowa, zooming around the galaxy, playing peacemaker to the stars. Zora's eyes swirled with warm colors. "If it is a dream, Jack Harper, it's one that's changing the face of the cosmos for the better." The contemplative moment was interrupted by a blaring alarm. The ship shuddered violently, throwing them off balance as it abruptly dropped out of hyperspace. "What's happening?" Jack shouted over the din. The ship's AI, a shimmering holographic face, materialized before them. "We've encountered a quantum anomaly," it reported, its voice eerily calm. "All systems are offline. We're adrift in uncharted space." As the initial chaos subsided, Jack and Zara made their way to the bridge. The viewscreen showed a bewildering sight: swirling clouds of energy in impossible colors, punctuated by fragments of what looked like shattered planets. "By the cosmic core," Zara breathed, her eyes wide. "We're in the fractal nexus." "The what now?" Jack asked, his brow furrowed. "A theoretical region of space where quantum mechanics breaks down," Zara explained, her voice filled with awe and trepidation. "Reality itself becomes unstable here. It's said that entire civilizations have vanished trying to explore it." As if to underscore her words, a chunk of debris outside the ship flickered and transformed into a school of fish-like creatures that swam through the void before dissolving into stardust. "Okay," Jack said, taking a deep breath. "So we're stuck in the galaxy's weirdest snow globe. How do we get out?" Before Zara could respond, a new alarm sounded. The ship's AI reappeared, its expression grave. Energy buildup detected. We're being pulled towards something. On the viewscreen, they watched as a colossal structure materialized out of the quantum foam. It was a vast, geometric megastructure, its surface covered in ever-shifting patterns of light and shadow. It's hailing us," the AI reported, sounding as surprised as a computer could. Jack and Zara exchanged glances. "Well," Jack said with a nervous grin, "I guess we answer. That's what we're out here for, right? Making new friends." The view screen flickered, and an image appeared that made them both gasp. The being before them was unlike anything they had ever encountered. It seemed to be composed of pure energy, its form constantly shifting between abstract patterns and vaguely humanoid shapes. When it spoke, its voice resonated directly in their minds, a symphony of thoughts and emotions. "Welcome, travelers," it said, its mental voice tinged with curiosity and amusement. "It has been eons since we last had visitors in our realm. I am Nexus Prime, caretaker of the Quantum Collective." Jack stepped forward, summoning all his diplomatic experience. "I'm Jack Harper of Earth, and this is Zaraline, the Luminarian Conclave. We seem to have taken a wrong turn at Andromeda. Any chance you could point us towards the cosmic off-ramp?" Nexus Prime's form rippled in what might have been laughter. "Ah, humor. How delightful. We had almost forgotten such concepts in our isolation. But I'm afraid your predicament is not so easily solved, Jack Harper of Earth. The fractal nexus does not release its visitors without compensation." Zara's eyes swirled with concern. "What kind of compensation?" "Knowledge," Nexus Prime replied. "Experience. Novelty. We who dwell in the quantum realm exist in a state of near omniscience. Yet we find ourselves stagnant. Your arrival presents an opportunity for fresh perspectives." Jack's mind raced. Here they were, face to face with beings of unimaginable power and knowledge, and they wanted to learn from them. It was both terrifying and oddly flattering. "So, what?" Jack asked. "You want us to teach you about life outside the fractal nexus?" Nexus Prime's form shifted into a complex geometric pattern. "In a manner of speaking, we propose an exchange. Share with us your experiences, your emotions, your very essence. In return, we will not only release you but grant you knowledge that could revolutionize life in your realm." Zara stepped forward, her scientist's curiosity piqued. "What kind of knowledge?" "The secrets of quantum manipulation," Nexus Prime replied. "The ability to reshape reality itself on a fundamental level. Imagine the possibilities for your fledgling galactic concord." Jack whistled low. "That's a lot to take in. But how exactly do we share our essence with you?" Through the mindscape meld, Nexus Prime explained. a joining of consciousness that will allow us to experience your memories and emotions as if they were our own. Be warned, the process can be intense. Jack and Zara exchanged glances. The offer was tantalizing, but the risks were enormous. They could potentially lose themselves in the cosmic consciousness of the quantum collective. "We need a moment to discuss this," Jack said. Nexus Prime's form rippled in acknowledgement. "Of course, time is flexible here. Take all that you need." As the transmission ended, Jack turned to Zara. "What do you think? This could be the scientific breakthrough of the millennium, but it could also fry our brains into quantum scrambled eggs." Zara's eyes swirled with a mix of excitement and trepidation. "The potential benefits are enormous, Jack, but you're right, the risks are just as great. Yet, isn't this why we set out into the cosmos? To explore the unknown, to push the boundaries of what's possible." Jack grinned, feeling a familiar thrill of adventure. "You know, for a hyper-intelligent alien diplomat, you sure think a lot like a farm boy from Iowa." Their decision made, they re-established contact with Nexus Prime. "We accept your offer," Jack announced. "But on one condition, we do this together. Zara and I go into the mindscape meld as one." Nexus Prime's form pulsed with what might have been surprise. "Fascinating. A joint consciousness from two distinct species. Yes, this will provide even richer data." "Very well, Jack Harper and Zara Lean. Prepare yourselves for the meld." The world around them began to shift and warp. Jack felt Zara's hand in his as reality dissolved into a kaleidoscope of memories and sensations. They were falling through the very fabric of their own minds, reliving every moment of joy, sorrow, triumph, and despair. Jack saw Zara's homeworld through her eyes, felt the weight of eons of luminarian history. Zara experienced the simple pleasures of life on an Iowa farm, the thrill of Jack's first steps on an alien world. And through it all, they felt the vast, curious presence of the quantum collective, drinking in their experiences with unquenchable thirst. 8 books seemed to pass in the blink of an eye. They witnessed the birth and death of stars, the rise and fall of civilizations across countless realities. The secrets of the quantum realm unfurled before them like the petals of a cosmic flower. When they finally emerged from the meld, gasping and disoriented, they found themselves back on the bridge of the stellar envoy. But they were changed. The knowledge granted by the quantum collective buzzed in their minds like a living thing. Did that really happen?" Jack asked, his voice hoarse. Zara's skin shimmered with residual energy. "It did. And Jack, I think we've just changed everything." As they looked out at the now calm space beyond their ship, they knew that their adventure was far from over. They had glimpsed the fundamental nature of reality itself, and with that knowledge came great responsibility. The farm boy from Iowa and the luminarian diplomat had become something more, guardians of cosmic secrets, bridges between the quantum and physical realms. As they set a course back to known space, they knew that the true challenge lay ahead, using their newfound knowledge to guide the galactic concord towards a future of unimaginable possibility. The universe, it seemed, had much more in store for the unlikely duo of Jack Harper and Zara Lean. Their quantum odyssey was just beginning, and the cosmos would never be the same. The singularity synthesis. The return of the stellar envoy to known space sent shockwaves through the galactic community. Jack Harper and Zara Lean, now hailed as the quantum duo, found themselves at the center of a scientific and philosophical revolution. Their experiences in the fractal nexus had granted them knowledge that blurred the lines between science and magic, challenging the very foundations of reality as the galaxy understood it. "I still can't believe we're doing this," Jack muttered, adjusting the collar of his formal attire. They stood backstage at the grand amphitheater of Nexus Station, preparing to address representatives from every known spacefaring civilization. Zara's skin shimmered with a mix of excitement and nervousness, her eyes swirling in mesmerizing patterns. "We have to, Jack. The knowledge we gained, it's too big to keep to ourselves. It could change everything." As they stepped onto the stage, Jack felt the weight of countless eyes upon them. The amphitheater was packed, with holographic projections allowing billions more to watch from across the cosmos. He took a deep breath, channeling the confidence that had seen him through so many impossible situations. "Friends, allies, citizens of the galaxy," Jack began, his voice steady and clear. "What we're about to share with you may sound impossible, even insane, but I promise you it's very real, and it's going to change our understanding of the universe forever." Over the next hour, Jack and Zara took turns explaining their encounter with the quantum collective and the mind-bending knowledge they had gained. They spoke of quantum manipulation on a macro scale, of reshaping reality itself, and of consciousness as a fundamental force of the universe. As they talked, holographic displays behind them showcased mind-bending visualizations of quantum phenomena, drawing gasps and murmurs from the audience. The implications were staggering: instantaneous travel across vast distances, the ability to create matter from pure energy, even the theoretical possibility of time manipulation. But with this knowledge comes great responsibility, Zara emphasized, her voice resonating with emotion. The power to reshape reality is not to be taken lightly. That's why we're proposing the formation of a new organization, the Cosmic Confluence. Jack nodded, picking up the thread. The Cosmic Confluence will bring together the brightest minds from all our civilizations. Scientists, philosophers, ethicists, working together to understand and responsibly implement this new quantum knowledge for the benefit of all. As they concluded their presentation, the amphitheater erupted in a cacophony of voices. Questions, exclamations, and debates broke out among the assembled delegates. The galaxy was abuzz with the possibilities and the potential dangers of this new quantum frontier. In the days that followed, Jack and Zara found themselves at the heart of a whirlwind of activity. The Galactic Concord convened emergency sessions to discuss the implications of the quantum revelations. Scientists from across the cosmos clamored for more information, eager to begin experimenting with the new principles. But not everyone was thrilled with these developments. A faction emerged, calling themselves the Cosmic Conservatives, who argued that such power was too dangerous to wield. They feared that tampering with the fundamental nature of reality could lead to unforeseen catastrophes. As tensions rose, Jack and Zara realized that they needed to do more than just share knowledge. They needed to demonstrate its potential for good. "We need a grand project," Jack mused one evening as they sat in their quarters on Nexus Station. "Something to show everyone what's possible when we work together with this new understanding." Zara's eyes lit up, swirling with inspiration. What if we could solve one of the galaxy's greatest challenges, something that's been holding back countless civilizations for eons? Jack grinned, catching her enthusiasm. "I'm listening." "The void storms," Zara said, her voice filled with excitement. "The massive areas of space-time disruption that make entire sectors of the galaxy uninhabitable. What if we could use our quantum knowledge to calm them?" The idea was audacious, bordering on impossible. The void storms had been a bane of galactic civilization for millions of years, cutting off vast regions of space and destroying countless worlds unlucky enough to be caught in their path. But the more they discussed it, the more feasible it seemed. By manipulating quantum fields on a massive scale, they might be able to stabilize the turbulent space-time of the void storms, opening up whole new frontiers for exploration and habitation. The proposal of the Void Calming Initiative galvanized the galactic community. Even many of the cosmic conservatives were swayed by the potential benefits. Soon, a massive collaborative effort was underway, with ships and scientists from hundreds of worlds converging on the edge of the nearest void storm. Jack and Zara found themselves at the helm of the most advanced vessel ever constructed, the Quantum Harmonizer. Built with technology derived from their new knowledge, it was a ship unlike any other, capable of manipulating the very fabric of spacetime around it. As they approached the swirling, chaotic edge of the void storm, Jack felt a familiar mix of excitement and trepidation. "You know," he said to Zara, who stood beside him on the bridge, "when I left Earth, I never imagined I'd be trying to tame a cosmic hurricane. Zora's skin shimmered with affectionate amusement, and I never imagined I'd be attempting it alongside a human farm boy turned galactic hero. Life is full of surprises, Jack Harper. The quantum harmonizer plunged into the maelstrom of the void storm. Reality itself seemed to twist and buckle around them, but the ship's quantum fields held, creating a bubble of calm in the cosmic chaos. "Begin the harmonic sequence," Jack ordered, his voice steady despite the tension. The ship pulsed with energy, sending out waves of quantum manipulation that began to resonate with the turbulent spacetime around them. It was like trying to calm an ocean by playing music, but on a cosmic scale. For hours, they worked tirelessly, adjusting frequencies, modulating quantum fields, and coordinating with the fleet of support ships that hovered at the edge of the storm. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, the chaos began to subside. "It's working," Zora exclaimed, her eyes swirling with joy and disbelief. "The storm patterns are stabilizing." Jack grinned, feeling the familiar thrill of accomplishing the impossible. "Let's not celebrate yet. We've still got a long way to go." Days turned into weeks as they pressed deeper into the void storm. The work was grueling, requiring constant concentration and adjustments. But gradually, the seemingly endless expanse of turbulent spacetime began to calm. As they reached the heart of the storm, they made a startling discovery. There, in a pocket of relatively calm space, they found the remnants of an ancient civilization, one that had been trapped when the void storm first formed millions of years ago. "By the cosmic core," Zora breathed, as they made contact with the descendants of those long-lost people. "We're not just opening up new territory, we're reuniting the galaxy with its lost children." The success of the Void Calming Initiative was beyond anyone's wildest expectations. Not only had they tamed one of the galaxy's greatest natural dangers, but they had also rediscovered lost worlds and peoples. The implications for galactic civilization were staggering. As news of their achievements spread, the mood across the cosmos shifted. The fear and skepticism that had greeted their initial revelations gave way to hope and excitement. The age of quantum enlightenment had truly begun. Standing on the observation deck of the quantum harmonizer, looking out at the now calm expanse of space that had once been a raging void storm, Jack felt a sense of awe and accomplishment unlike anything he'd ever experienced. "You know, Zora," he said softly, "when I left Iowa, I thought I was just going on a little adventure. See the sights, maybe have a few alien cocktails. I never imagined this." Zora's hand found his, her touch sending a warm tingle through his body. "The universe had greater plans for you, Jack Harper, for both of us." As they stood there, watching distant stars twinkle in the newly calm space, Jack realized that their journey was far from over. The galaxy was entering a new age of exploration and discovery, with challenges and wonders it could scarcely imagine. But whatever lay ahead, he knew one thing for certain: as long as he had Zora by his side and the spirit of adventure in his heart, there was nothing they couldn't face together. The farm boy from Iowa had become a cosmic legend, a shaper of galactic destiny, and his greatest adventures were still to come.